All right, we are getting ready to start this thing. So if you are here to support Medicaid expansion, come on over. Woo!
I'm here.
You're here, right.
All right, how's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Good. I'm doing a lot better since I found out that Roy Cooper vetoed the budget that did not include Medicaid expansion. Yes, Governor Cooper! Thanks for showing up and showing out today, y'all. We are showing up here, I know, with a lot of emotions. We have been fighting this fight for almost a decade now, trying to win Medicaid expansion for North Carolina in order to create more than 40,000 jobs and provide 500,000 folks in our state with the health care that they need. This year alone, we have visited our representatives, Senator Jim Davis, Representative Michelle Presnell, and Representative Joe Sam Queen multiple times. We have driven all the way out to Raleigh to share our stories with them. We have gathered thousands of petition signatures. We have held vigils and rallies and press conferences across the state. We have been polite, and we have done everything right as citizens of this great state, and yet they still refuse to listen to us. This is absolutely unacceptable. Boo! Earlier this week, conservative legislators came together and voted to pass a budget that does not include Medicaid expansion, something that you and I and all of us here are already paying for. Instead of putting the health and lives of North Carolinians first, conservative lawmakers are playing politics with our lives to prioritize the #1 item on their political agenda, cutting taxes for big corporations. Fortunately for us, the governor of North Carolina works for us and has our backs and vetoed that budget this morning. So today, as healthcare is under attack, we come together to stand up and fight back. When healthcare is under attack, what do we do?
Fight back.
When healthcare is under attack, what do we do?
Fight back.
Today, we will hear from a few brave souls from Western North Carolina who are ready to share their story and tell our legislators that without expanding Medicaid, our blood is on your hands. Then, we will end with a few words from our very own Representative Queen, who has been standing up for us in Raleigh and pushing for Medicaid expansion since day one. Please give a warm welcome to our first guest, Trevor Gates from Jackson County.
Right here?
Yep.
Hello.
Hi, Trevor.
So, like they said, my name is Trevor Gates. I am 24 years old, about to be 24 in July. As you can tell, I am severely visually impaired, legally blind. I lost my vision to the point I was cane dependent when I was 22. But through that time, I was going to school at Southwestern Community College, where I just graduated from with 2 associate's degrees. Thank you. I'm an up-and-coming student at Western Carolina in the psychology program. My goal is to go as far as a doctorate in clinical psychology. But that has been threatened. It's been threatened for about 5 years now. I've been on disability since I was a kid because I had life-threatening diseases and medical conditions that killed me twice: a rare kidney disorder and nerve disorder. These have fortunately, because I've had the health care I needed, have been in remission for a good few years now. But they're always a threat that they'll come back. 5 years ago, going on 5 years ago, I was told that my benefits, my Social Security benefits, were being threatened to be taken away. And the fight has not stopped for almost 5 years. It's supposed to end here soon, but the possibility of them ripping it away from me is high. The only reason I've been able to chase my dreams, the only reason I've been able to be a student is because I've had the health care. I've been able to get needed medications for severe mental illnesses that I would not be able to afford otherwise. I could not afford the 3 antidepressants or anti-anxieties that I'm on. I could not afford those at all. If these benefits are taken away, there's no safety net that's going to catch me. I will just fall to the ground. Everything I've worked for will be at risk. Everything I'm trying to work for will be threatened. My progress that I've made has been plentiful, but it's only because I've been able to get the health care I needed when I needed it. And because of that, I live in constant fear of this rug being pulled out from under me. And it would be less stressful if Medicaid expansion was already a thing as it should be, because there would be something to catch me on the way down, and I wouldn't be completely derailed. Yeah, financially, I would still be heavily affected, but at least I would still be able to get the medications that keep me in a stable mental state, and the doctor's supervision that keep my life-threatening medical conditions at bay. I have to be checked on the regular because the main thing is the kidney disorder. It's called nephrotic syndrome, and it makes my kidneys work reverse. They keep the bad, they get rid of the good when it's active. And when I was a child, it killed me twice. They had to revive me. And without Medicaid, without any sort of health insurance to help, my family will not be able to help me. My ability to go to school will be affected, and I won't be able to reach the goals that I've set for myself. And the sad thing is, my story is not unique. I'm not the first one to say it. I'm not the first one to face these issues. My story is one of many. Many people live in fear that their entire life plans or their entire life will be derailed and ended. And we can't let that happen. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lynn Carver. I'm a 54-year-old female, single, with no kids at home, which means I fall in the Medicaid gap. I can get no Medicaid, and I have had subsidies through the ACA until now that my income has gone up too high, so I'm about to lose insurance. Okay, thank you, sorry. I'm about to lose insurance because my income is too high. So I'm on 24 medications because I have diabetes. It's not working.
Check.
Testing. Can I be loud?
Yeah.
I can try to be louder.
Okay.
I can hear this fine.
Testing.
Is it all this down here?
Testing. Testing. Just try to be loud.
Okay. We'll make it work.
To the side and get it working.
All right. So I have diabetes and other chronic medical conditions, and I have 24 medications. And I have to see the doctor every couple of months. And one of my medications costs the insurance company about $2,500. And luckily I can get that through a savings card program, but if I couldn't, then there's no way I could afford that. And that's one of my diabetic medications. If I don't take my shots, then I'm damaging my organs all the time. And I really like my organs. I want them to stay intact. I've had a job that I had to keep because I had to keep my insurance, and the job was damaging to me. But if I left my job, I didn't have insurance anymore. And I need to have continual coverage. There needs to be continual coverage so that people don't have to stay in jobs that are bad for them or jobs that they hate, or the medical coverage does not depend on income. It shouldn't matter whether I make $100 a week, $500 a week, or $1,000 a week. I should be able to get medical care the whole time, the whole way through whatever kind of insurance we've got. And Medicaid expansion is the only way we're going to be able to do that in this state right now. And everybody needs to have that, not just me, not just Trevor. Every single person in this state needs to be able to have medical coverage. Oh well.
No, it's not. Kathy, are you going to be good to be loud?
Oh yeah.
Why don't you all pretend this isn't church and don't die for the last pew? Why don't you come on in?
Come on in, just
There you go.
Absolutely, I can
She
project.
doesn't bite. Promise.
I might.
Much.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you all for coming out. My name is Kathy Wood. I live in Waynesville. I'm a transplant from New Jersey, where even the Republican governor there expanded Medicaid, folks.
That's right.
Yay. First of all, thank you, Governor Cooper, for vetoing that damn bill. As I was reading the article, it stated that, oh well, they don't really need Medicaid expansion because working people can afford health care through the exchange. Guess what? If you have a 40-hour-a-week minimum wage job, and good luck finding one, you're earning about $1,000 a month. Last time I looked, that might just cover your rent. My food is about $300 a month. If you're earning $1,000 a month, and you good luck if you can afford rent and food. I don't know how you pay for premiums on the exchange because they're not cheap. Okay, so that's first. The other thing is, you know, the politicians have got to realize it's their job. We hired them to negotiate and compromise. So get off the stick, folks, and do your job. So that's my editorial. Now let me just share a little bit about my story. I was born very prematurely. I have cerebral palsy. I'm also legally blind. I was very fortunate in that I had a great deal of support through the Commission for the Blind in New Jersey. Got a good education. But a good part of what got me through that education and got me into the workforce was SSI and Medicaid. Okay? It was really good to be able to eat and know I could go to a doctor if I needed to while I was working my butt off to get an education. P.S. folks, I worked full-time for 37 and a half years. Who's counting? The bottom line, I'm standing here to tell you, I will never, ever say that the government should do everything for everybody. We have to fight for ourselves. We have to work really hard to make our lives good. But man, we can't do that if we don't have a base under us. It is the government's job to be sure that at least we have the minimum supports. And that, in this country, I really believe that's got to be universal health care.
Yes.
Yes. But Medicaid expansion is the first step on that road, folks. There was just a free clinic in Cleveland, Tennessee a few weeks ago. Free clinic in this country. Doctors had to come out and volunteer to provide a couple hours of treatment for people who had no way to get care. Hundreds of people showed up for that. And the same kind of thing, I am sure, has happened in North Carolina, or darn well could. You know what? Shame on this country that we have to depend on free clinics to take care of any of our people. We are the wealthiest country in the world. Politicians, get off your butt. Get your head out of the clouds, get down here on the ground and see what the real situation is, and at least provide minimum supports to the people that hired you to do your job. Thank
you. Chelsea, thank you down home for sponsoring this this rally. It couldn't be a more important day. The governor has vetoed this budget. I spoke against it yesterday. It is a cruel budget that leaves 500,000 North Carolinians behind. It is a wasteful budget. It throws away $5 billion of our taxes We've all pledged allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and paid our federal taxes, and our legislature is denying that coming here to help our neighbors who need health care. Trevor and Kathy and Lynn and thousands like them. There's 12,000 veteran families that are covered under Medicaid expansion. There will be 1,000 lives saved every year. 1,000 lives saved. I'll say that again. 1,000 lives saved with health care that we've paid for that they no longer have. We're losing those 1,000 lives. In Haywood County last year, Greg Christopher told me we had lost 26 opioid overdoses lives in Haywood County. When Ohio passed Medicaid expansion, they cut their overdose deaths in half in the first year. Now that'd be 13 citizens in Haywood County if we were similar. So it is important to everybody. But what I say is stand with our governor, stand with those that will stand with him and sustain his veto, and we will sit down and talk about some common sense for everyday North Carolinians, which is expand Medicaid now, not later, now. I will say one other thing. There is a reason we don't pass this budget with everything they want and half the stuff we don't want at all. There's a reason we won't pass it if they won't sit down and at least negotiate with us on Medicaid expansion. Not one new tax dollar is required to give 500,000 of our neighbors health care, full health care. So we're not negotiating your health care away. We finally got rid of this supermajority. We can stand with our governor, and we're going to stand with him, with you, till it's done. So you just pass the word to Jim Davis, Kevin Corbin, Michelle Presnell, anybody you know. Say, as you say, get your heads out of the clouds and come down here to earth where your people need health care. Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Thank y'all so much for being here, for standing in solidarity with our neighbors, but it doesn't end tonight. Like I said, this fight has been going on for nearly a decade, and it does not end now. So the next steps that you can take, we actually have postcards here that are pre-addressed to Michelle Presnell and Jim Davis. All you have to do is come put your name on it. You don't even have to fill it out, although you can if you have something in mind that you'd like to say. And feel free to come sign our petition, which says that we stand with Roy Cooper as he chooses to use the veto to stand up for our right to have access to Medicaid expansion. Thank y'all for showing up. Have a great rest of your night.
Can I call everybody up just for a picture?
Oh yeah, we would love to get a picture of everybody if you want to come up to the stairs.
Come by, signs everybody. Let's get a picture together.
You can take them with you.
Right here in the center. Come on, right here in the center.
Y'all want to sign?
Okay, hang on, guys.
Come on up, everybody.
You can the blind chauffeur.
I think that's a good spot for you.
Come on, Mark. You're good. You just come right in here. You're good. Come right in here. Okay, guys. Hold those signs up. Let's thumbs up for Medicaid expansion. Let's do it. Medicaid expansion.
Medicaid expansion! Power to the people! Power to the people!
Go, Governor Cooper!
Thank you.
Way to go, Governor.
We're with the governor till it's over. Thank you.
When health care is under attack, what do we do?
Fight back!
stand up and fight back. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. I think we covered. I want to invite you all to